My relationship with Eliza lasted 8 years. I loved her for that entire time, but just a week before our planned wedding, I happened to see her personal journal. Inside, in her neat handwriting, she was writing about how much she missed another man and the magic of the first time they were together. She also wrote her actual reasons for wanting to marry me. After I read the very last page, I quietly closed the journal, put it back exactly where I found it, and decided to continue acting like everything was normal. I kept up the pretense. Then, on the day we were supposed to get married, she lost it completely when she saw a different person standing on the stage as the groom. "Ken, cancel the flight tickets for France and Switzerland, and also the reserved hotel suite," I instructed. My assistant sounded surprised, and I could hear a slight hesitation in his voice. "But Alex, wasn't this supposed to be a surprise honeymoon for your wife? What happened?" "Cancel it all. I'm not getting married," I said, my lips trembling just a little. I tried to keep my voice steady as I ended the call. I just stared down at the old-fashioned journal in my hands. On the front cover, a note was written, "I love you in every ordinary day, forever." It was signed David. That single sentence made my mind go completely blank. In 3 days, I was supposed to marry Eliza. Today, I was meant to go pick up my wedding suit and pay the last amount due. But she had vanished early this morning and wasn't answering her phone. Her friends told me that someone we both knew was planning a surprise for her and asked me to please not bother them. When the dress shop called me about an issue, I had to go to her place myself. That's when I found this journal. My debit card was with Eliza, so I went into her room to look for money for the first time. Right there, in a drawer, I found this journal. As I read it, everything from our past suddenly made sense. We had dated for 4 years and lived in the same place, but she always insisted on sleeping in separate bedrooms, claiming she was traditional. We didn't even have one single photo of us holding hands. I was always trying hard to think up small surprises for her in life, but she would just say she preferred things calm and wasn't able to handle surprises. Now I realize it wasn't the surprises she was uncomfortable with. It was the ones that came from me. The thought of all those years I spent trying to make her happy with my sad attempts hit me hard. I remembered how shocked her friends looked when we announced we were getting married. "Are you serious? Not going to wait anymore? Just giving up?" I hadn't understood what they meant back then, and I had smugly told them, "Our relationship can stand the test of time." But now I know who they meant when they said waiting, and I no longer had the courage to claim anything about our relationship. I returned to my own room. I took a deep breath, closed the notebook, and carefully placed it back in her drawer. Then, I went back to my bedroom. My phone suddenly vibrated with a text message. I opened our conversation, and my eyes landed on a brief reply under a screen full of my own green messages. "Something came up. I'll be back late." I had always thought her lack of quick replies was just part of her personality, that she wasn't good at texting. I never once imagined she was reserving a spot in her heart for someone else. Looking back, I realized the fool was me. My friends often invited us out, but she would always decline, saying she was too busy. Now, I finally knew the real reason for her cancellations. For 8 years, I had been preparing for this wedding. Especially in these last few days, I was too excited to sleep. I even made a countdown calendar, reminding myself of the date every day. I looked over at the calendar, which showed 3 days to go, and my eyes filled with tears. I got up, grabbed the calendar, and threw it in the trash bin. Trying to control the exhaustion I felt inside, I went to my home office to try and get lost in work. Around 12:30 a.m., I heard the sound of the door locking successfully. The woman I was supposed to marry in 3 days was leaning lovingly on a man. I had recently seen his face in a photo tucked inside the journal, but in person, he looked older and more weathered. Eliza, who seemed drunk, was helped into the room by David and gently laid down on the sofa. Only then did he look up at me, his face showing clear hostility. "I'm Eliza's ex-boyfriend, David. You must be Alex," he said. Without waiting for me to respond, he kept going, complaining, "What kind of boyfriend are you? Even fiancé? You didn't call her even once, and it's so late. Aren't you worried she might be in danger?" If this had been earlier, seeing a guy so close to my girlfriend, especially knowing we were about to get married soon, I would have punched him right then. But now, I just smiled, without feeling anything. "Eliza's friends take very good care of her. Especially with an ex like you around. Why would I be worried?" I replied. David looked at me with a slight smirk. Eliza, who had been silent until then, suddenly spoke up. "Alex, stop being sarcastic. I got home safely thanks to David." In a moment, I clenched my fists, my knuckles turning white and shaking slightly. In 8 years, Eliza never showed me even a tiny bit of this warmth. David showed up for just a day, and she gave him all of it. My role as her boyfriend seemed completely pointless. When Eliza refused to hold hands, refused romantic gestures, and declined all normal couple activities, our eventual breakup was already set. Back then, I didn't want to let go, hoping to take a chance with another 4 years, but the resulting pain was only worse. Eliza finished speaking, and David quickly jumped in. Now, Eliza, don't argue over me." I forced a small smile and looked at David. "Well, thanks for bringing Eliza back so late. I'd feel bad if you didn't." There was a brief pause. Eliza looked at me, annoyed. "Alex, what exactly do you mean by that? You don't believe me? David just traveled a long way to attend our wedding. We've been friends for over 10 years and just wanted to catch up. What's with all the doubt?" she challenged. "All right, Alex, stop being unreasonable and go make me some soup for my hangover." Eliza, looking tired and rubbing her head, commanded me. I knew she was giving me a way out of the argument. In the past, I would have been eager to do whatever she asked just because she said so. But not today. I pretended I didn't hear her and stood completely still. David suddenly chimed in with that mocking tone. "Alex, we're both men. You should be more understanding with a woman you love. Besides, you're about to get married. How could you not have any trust in Eliza?" I made a point of looking completely innocent, glancing at both of them. "What? I trust you both." But what David said clearly affected Eliza. She suddenly glared at me, her voice firm. "Then what did you mean earlier? Everything you said showed you don't trust us, Alex. Explain clearly what you meant. How have I wronged you? David is my friend. Not respecting him means not respecting me. If you don't clear this up today, maybe we shouldn't even bother with this wedding." I felt a wave of deep sadness. Yes, everything I had given in 4 years couldn't compare to a kind look David gave her. I remembered something from Eliza's journal. Today, Alex proposed to me. I said yes. My friends find it hard to believe. They think I've moved on from David. But actually, I'm taking one last chance. Lately, I've been dreaming of David's clear eyes when he kissed me. I once promised him an unforgettable wedding. If he comes back for me, I'll figure out how to divorce Alex afterward. With the money, David and I could start our life together. It all clicked. Why she suddenly accepted my proposal. Why all she wanted was a simple wedding. The 8 years I'd been dreaming of a wedding was just a trick to bring David back. Fine. If they were so in love, then I would make their wedding happen. David, with a challenging look, watched and waited for me to lose control in anger. I forced myself to calm down, keeping my voice even. "Eliza, you misunderstood. I didn't mean anything disrespectful toward your friend. I truly thanked him earlier. If you choose to see it differently, that's your decision." My calmness surprised Eliza. She probably thought I would beg and apologize like a dog when she mentioned breaking up. Even David looked shocked, a flicker of anger in his eyes when his provocation failed. His irritation gave me a small sense of satisfaction. But he didn't stop. Stepping closer, he patted my shoulder and grinned. "Eliza, Alex didn't mean it. You know how stubborn you can be sometimes. I used to let it go. Alex, you should too." Instinctively, I pushed David's hand away. He winced dramatically. Eliza's expression sobered instantly, and she looked worried about him. "Alex, are you insane? You dared to hit him?" Such a small thing, and she was so concerned for David. The way she treated me was completely different. I remembered the time she made me stand out in the intense sun for hours just to fetch a pastry, which resulted in me getting a fever. But she couldn't care less. She lied about being busy when she was really out having fun. My thoughts were suddenly interrupted by a slap. A slap. Of all things, my first actual physical touch with Eliza came like this, and that slap completely wiped away any remaining feelings I had for her. My decision was final. This wedding, in 3 days, was the only thing left to see through. "Alex, apologize to David right now." I almost started laughing. Meanwhile, David was standing behind Eliza, wearing a smug smile. I forced myself to put on a terrified performance. "My mistake. I didn't realize you were so delicate, David. Just a light touch and I hurt you. Sorry, but I'm a germaphobe. When your hand got close, I couldn't handle the smell," I said. I saw David's face twist up in disgust. He turned to Eliza. "Eliza, don't let this cause problems between you and Alex. He's going to be your husband, starting a marriage with you." And David paused, shaking his head with a sad smile. "I never had the courage or the money to make you happy. I probably won't get that chance. But seeing you happy is enough for me." "David, actually, Eliza started, but I cut her off. "Eliza, it's late. We have a lot to do tomorrow. David needs a good rest after today. I'll walk him downstairs." Eliza gave me a conflicted look, but didn't say anything. I walked over with a friendly smile, gently took David's arm, and pulled him toward the door. Once we stepped outside, I immediately let go of his arm and stopped, my face expressionless. "Take your time. Show yourself out." David looked a little surprised, but then he smiled at me. "Eliza can't handle her drinks. When you get back, make her some honey water. Not too much honey because she doesn't like it too sweet. And don't make it too hot." He paused, then quickly continued, "Oh, I almost forgot the most important part. Tonight you'll have to keep an eye on her. Eliza moves around a lot in her sleep and always kicks off the covers. Make sure she doesn't get a cold. She used to keep me up all night with her tossing and turning." He seemed a bit embarrassed and added, "Sorry, I didn't mean anything by it, just—" I cut him off with a polite smile. "It's fine. No need for all that worry. I'll get her to move around a bit when we get home. Get her to sweat it out, and she'll sleep soundly. But thank you for your concern." David's expression froze, and I didn't pay him any more attention. I turned around and headed back upstairs. When I returned to the apartment, Eliza was no longer in the living room. I heard the water running in. The bathroom? So I just went straight to my own bedroom. Just as I was about to fall asleep, Eliza knocked on my door. "Alex, are you awake?" I wasn't interested in whatever she wanted, so I stayed silent and rolled over, trying to fall back asleep. After what felt like a long time, I finally heard her footsteps moving away, and then the soft sound of her door closing. The next morning, I intentionally slept late, and when I woke up, Eliza had already made breakfast for me. I was usually the one who did that, so her being this attentive was rare. "Awake? Come eat breakfast." She was acting like nothing had happened, her voice as distant as ever. After seeing how she was so reluctant to let David go the day before, there was no way I could still blame her coldness on her personality. I sat across from her and quietly ate a piece of fried dough stick. Seeing that I wasn't speaking, she broke the silence. "I drank too much last night. You're not still angry about me slapping you, are you?" "No, don't worry about it," I answered so quickly it seemed to surprise her, and she looked a bit taken aback, her expression complicated. After a short silence, she said casually, "A friend is having a bachelorette party for me. I'll stay at her place tonight." "Okay." She looked a bit surprised. "You agree?" I gave her a questioning look. "Why wouldn't I be okay with you staying at a friend's? It's not like you're going anywhere else." Eliza felt different today, actually asking for my opinion. It wasn't the first time she said she'd be staying overnight at a friend's. In the past, I'd stay up all night in the living room waiting for her, asking where she had been and why she didn't answer her phone. At first, she'd explain, "I was at a friend's. What's the big deal? Can't I talk with my friends without checking in with you?" "Alex, stop being so sensitive and paranoid." Eventually, she stopped bothering to explain, letting me worry myself sick with doubts, and then slowly convince myself I was wrong. It wasn't until I found her journal that I found out she had a small apartment rented on the side. It was the place she and David used to stay. It was still full of his things, kept exactly as he left it. Whenever Eliza missed David intensely, she would spend the night there, lying on the bed where they shared such close moments. After breakfast, Eliza said she was going to see her friends and left. I called the wedding planner and canceled our rehearsal scheduled for that day. The person on the other end sounded shocked. "Alex, if you don't rehearse, things might go wrong during the ceremony." "It doesn't matter. One less thing," I said. While they were still confused, I hung up. I had planned to call David out myself, but he beat me to it, calling me first. At 2 p.m., I met him at a cafe. He was sitting at a table by the window and waved me over. I sat down across from him. "I ordered you a latte. Hope that's all right?" I kept a serious face. Looking at David's overly friendly smile, I called the server. "I'll have an iced Americano, please." Once the server left, David leaned back in his seat, looking at me smugly. "Alex, drop the act. It's just the two of us. Aren't you tired of pretending?" I kept the same blank look, still not saying a word. David, with a teasing expression, said, "I'll be direct. I want you to cancel the wedding tomorrow. You and Eliza will never be happy together." I finally let out a small laugh. And she'd be happy with the guy who manipulated her into giving up her opportunity to study abroad and then abandoned her? I had secretly hired someone to look into that. In our final year of college, David sweet-talked Eliza into giving up her chance to study abroad so he could go instead. That same year, her father had a terrible accident at work that left him paralyzed. The betrayal by her first love, combined with the family stress, almost destroyed her. Not knowing the whole story back then, I started helping her out of pity. I foolishly believed that if I treated her well enough, she would eventually fall in love with me. But the reality was harsh. "So what?" David didn't care. "The minute I came back, she was all over me." He leaned in closer, whispering, "I'm not going anywhere. Marry her if you want, but don't blame me for you being cheated on. I'm still the only man she's been with. But hey, if you want that, I'll help you out, free of charge." He was trying to get a reaction out of me, and in the past, it might have worked. But now I felt nothing. I chuckled sadly, raising my hands in a gesture of giving up. "Fine, You win. I quit. David clearly hadn't expected me to react this way. He was stunned for a moment until the waiter brought our coffee and brought him back to reality. You agreed to cancel the wedding? David asked, sounding suspicious. I put down my coffee, smiled slightly, and shook my head at him. The wedding can't be cancelled, but I can grant you one wish. A wish? What do you mean? I paused for a moment before continuing. The wedding. I'm giving it to you. As I left the cafe and got back into my car, I took a deep breath and pulled out my phone to call my parents about the situation. There was a long silence on the other end of the line before my father finally sighed. Take care of yourself, and try to come home when you can. After hanging up, I had my assistant book me a flight to the Maldives. I needed to clear my mind. By the next afternoon, Eliza still hadn't returned home, even though today was supposed to be the day we got our marriage license. Normally, I would have called Eliza repeatedly by now, but this time, she called me first. Alex, last night was crazy, and a friend got sick. I'm staying to take care of her tonight. I'll head straight to the wedding place tomorrow. I couldn't tell if she was telling the truth, and I wasn't going to waste time trying to figure it out. I hung up, packed a few clothes, and went to the airport. During the 3-hour flight, my mind was full of memories of the past 8 years. 8 years isn't a short time, and it was long enough for me to develop the habit of loving her. It was the first time we were physically so far apart, and my heart couldn't help but feel a little anxious. Once I got off the plane, I checked into a hotel. On the way there, Eliza called again, sounding a bit annoyed. Alex, I'm at the wedding venue and don't see you. Where are you? I smiled and replied, I've got a surprise for you. You'll find out soon enough. Alex, don't do anything unnecessary. Just get here. The sooner we start, the sooner we'll be done with it. I'm going to get my makeup done. She hung up right away. Somehow, I still felt a tiny bit of hurt in my heart. I took a deep breath to push away my sad feelings, and suddenly felt excited for Eliza's reaction when she realized the groom wasn't me. Reaching the beach, I found a comfortable place facing the ocean. I checked the time and opened the live stream. The wedding was already beginning, and the bride had been asked to come onto the stage. The person hosting the ceremony had a happy expression. Before the wedding, the groom told me he has a secret dream surprise for the bride. So what is it? Next, let's invite our groom onto the stage to reveal it. With that, the lights suddenly went out, putting the room in darkness. A silhouette appeared on the stage, slowly walking toward the bride. When the host excitedly counted down, 2 spotlights illuminated Eliza and the man standing in front of her. When people finally saw who the man was, everyone was shocked. Eliza, who had looked distant before, was wide-eyed and speechless. The crowd started whispering. What's happening? Who is this guy? Isn't the groom supposed to be on stage? I don't know. He's wearing the groom's suit. Is he the groom? Didn't expect to get some drama with the wedding. This was worth coming for. The host, probably experiencing this for the first time, was at a loss for words. As the whispers from the crowd reached the stage, Eliza finally snapped out of it. David, why are you here? Where's Alex? David looked at her sincerely and answered seriously. Eliza, I'm here to marry you. I'm today's real groom. The crowd exploded in confusion, but David seemed unbothered. He looked at Eliza, who stood pale and confused, and continued his heartfelt speech. Eliza, I've imagined this moment countless times. Today, that dream is finally coming true. The next second, everyone's attention shifted to the huge screen behind them, where photos began to appear. They were pictures I had carefully chosen from Eliza's journal. Suddenly, Long-held secrets were being shown to everyone, and Eliza panicked. "Turn it off! Turn it off! Stop showing it!" Desperately, she tried to cover the screen, but a confused David stopped her. "Eliza, what's wrong?" "Calm down, it's our big day. Everyone's watching. Stop making a scene," Lisa forcefully pushed David away. "This is all wrong. This isn't right. Where is Alex? You planned this with him. Bring Alex out. Alex, get out here." In the past, I was always the one desperately trying to win her cold affection. This was the first time Eliza was so eager for me. Seeing her break down like this, I couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. I closed the video and sent Eliza one last text. "Congrats on the wedding." Then I blocked her on everything. I stood up and stretched as the salty sea breeze, mixed with the smell of flowers, blew across my face. It was a beautiful day. When I got back to the hotel that night and finished cleaning up, I decided to check my plans for the next day. Suddenly, my phone rang with a number I didn't recognize. Hesitantly, I answered, and before I could say anything, a woman's angry voice shouted at me, "Alex, you horrible person! How dare you block me? What are you trying to do? What is that text you sent supposed to mean? Talk to me!" For the first time, I spoke coldly to Eliza. "Eliza, can't you see what it means? We're finished." "Finished?" She seemed completely unable to believe those words came from my mouth. After a brief pause, she became hysterical. "But why do you get to decide when we break up? I don't agree. What about the feelings we shared? What about the 4 years of my youth I spent on you? You want to abandon me? You think you can just ditch me like that? No way." Eliza was actually trying to talk about feelings? 4 years? I loved her for 8. "Eliza, forget the past. I hope you find happiness moving forward." The line went silent for a moment. Then Eliza's voice softened a lot, with a hint of a cry. "Alex, if you apologize now, I might still give you another chance. I'll keep away from David, but you need to apologize to my parents and relatives. They were embarrassed at the wedding, but that's okay. As long as you bring some nice cigarettes and liquor and show some sincerity, they will—" "Eliza, I've made things clear enough. Please stop bothering me or else—" "Alex, are you talking back to me now?" she snapped, grinding her teeth. "Sure, I wrote in the journal, but besides that, what did I ever do that was so wrong? Can't I have a little privacy? Why do you get to end things so easily? Aren't you at fault too? If you'd put more effort into us, been a little better, tried to impress me, would I even have written in the journal? You're such an awful boyfriend." Her words just made me laugh. All these years with her, I wasn't attentive enough? She wanted watermelon in the middle of the night during winter, and I would get out of bed and search the entire city to get it for her. When her work performance was bad and her boss scolded her, I secretly asked friends to pretend to be clients to boost her results using my money, and even gave gifts to her boss to make her work life better. I put all my effort into her, yet she calls me awful? Is she looking for a boyfriend or a servant? I've said enough. So if there's nothing else, let's just end it here and have no more contact. "Alex, you wouldn't dare!" Eliza suddenly panicked as I was about to hang up. "Alex, I know it. You're seeing someone else, right? That's why you're making up excuses to dump me. You're making yourself look like the victim to destroy my reputation. Well, I won't let you. It's not that easy to break up with me." Then she hung up. I never thought Eliza would cling to me like an annoying insect one day. Did she really have feelings? Or was she just upset that she couldn't stick to her plan of marrying me to get my money? I shook my head with a sad smile. Whatever it was, I put her number on my block list again and went back to planning my next trip. I thought Eliza would want to keep some dignity for herself, but she went all out. She kept calling and texting me with new numbers. She started off mean, like before, but then her messages became pleading. "Alex, when I agreed to be your girlfriend, you promised to take care of me for life. Did you forget? Alex, what am I to you? Do you know how my life has been? I lost my job, my parents think I'm a disgrace, and everyone is pointing fingers at me. Is this what you wanted? Alex, I was wrong. I've paid for my mistakes. What more do you want from me? Alex, would you forgive me if I died? Fine, I'll allow that, I thought. I assumed it was just her being dramatic, so I didn't pay any attention. Until my dad called, saying Eliza had shown up at their house, threatening to hurt herself unless I came to see her, and was begging me to get back together. I had to cut my trip short and rush home. When I returned, Eliza was sobbing on the sofa. Seeing me, she started crying even louder. Alex, I knew you wouldn't leave me, she said, opening her arms and rushing toward me for a hug. I quickly stepped back in alarm, letting her fall forward. Eliza, we are broken up. Don't do this. She looked stunned, swaying on her feet and almost losing her balance. What? Alex, do I mean nothing to you? Even strangers wouldn't be this cruel. Alex, are you going to start hating me too? I stared at her without any feeling. We've already talked about this to death. What's the point of going over it again? Impossible, Alex. I know you were just angry before. It was a lie, wasn't it? Eliza persisted. You're not upset about the journal anymore, right? You're not still jealous of David, right? Alex, I know I was wrong. If you don't like it, I promise I won't talk to David anymore. I'll do whatever you say, okay? I swear nothing happened between David and me. I'm still pure. Believe me. I let out a harsh laugh. Pure? Didn't your journal already spell it all out? Is that what you call pure? You're married now. Have some respect. Her face turned pale. Alex? Enough, I cut her off sharply. I wanted to let you keep some dignity, but if you don't leave, I'll have to call the police. Whatever you do from now on has nothing to do with me. Do not bother me or my family again. Eliza stepped forward and grabbed my hand in a tight grip. No way, Alex. No way. I don't believe you don't love me anymore. I shook off her hand and coldly told Eliza, who was sprawled on the floor, not loving you means exactly that. I don't owe you any explanation. Just stay out of my life from now on. Finally seeing Eliza out the door was a huge relief. I thought once we reached this point, who would be shameless enough to keep clinging on? But of course, Eliza was that shameless person. She even threatened that if her last relationship ended, this time she would go all out to pursue me. She'd show up at my workplace every day with food, and sometimes even surprise me with small gifts. I admit her surprises were well thought out, but they were getting on my nerves. Suddenly, it hit me. Maybe this is how Eliza felt when I acted like this. My work life was seriously affected, so I had no choice but to ask my boss to transfer me to a branch in another city. The boss was quite understanding and agreed right away. By that afternoon, I was rushing to the airport. I changed my phone number, and only my family and colleagues knew the new one. Finally, my world was quiet. But just when I thought I could have some peace, I noticed colleagues looking at me differently. They even started avoiding me. Walking down the street suddenly got me more second glances and strange looks from people I didn't know. I was confused until my boss called. Alex, stop all your work for now. I'm giving you a month off to deal with your personal problems. At first I was baffled, but after asking some questions, I got the full story. I was shocked to find out that David and Eliza had teamed up to start an online public attack against me. They accused me of cheating and planning things to get away from Eliza, which they described convincingly. They even somehow found a silent video of me and David talking at the cafe. They made up stories about me abusing and manipulating Eliza, creating a narrative so bad that even I felt like a monster. Waving the banner of seeking justice for women and acting like the victim, they quickly gained support online. People started harassing me constantly with calls and texts full of words I'd never heard. I couldn't take it anymore. Seriously, cyberbullying? Anyone can do that. I immediately posted a response online, releasing the key entries from Eliza's journal and photos of her and David together before she got married. And then I called the police. But that wasn't enough. I paid for a little extra online attention to make sure the story spread. Those intimate photos of them? They were completely faked. But the journal was solid evidence. The photos were just to make them look worse. As expected, within a single night, the anger of the internet turned on them. By the afternoon, Eliza called me, begging for mercy. "Alex, I'm sorry. Everything I said online was in a moment of anger because I couldn't reach you. Can't we just let it go for what we once had?" I just laughed. "Eliza, I'm not the one keeping this going. You're the one who won't let go. You're into David, right? Even when he tricked you out of studying abroad, you were fine with it. So why can't you leave me alone?" "What? What did you just say?" Eliza sounded shocked. "That can't be true. David got that opportunity through hard work. We were supposed to stay here for graduate school. I chose that, not the other way around." She trailed off. It seemed like she finally understood. "Ask him yourself." With that, I hung up. After clearing my name, I got back to work and settled back into my normal routine. Days passed peacefully until, out of nowhere, my lawyer called about Eliza and David's defamation case. "Alex, there's a complication with the case," the lawyer said. "David is dead. Eliza cut him up into pieces, ate some, then walked into the police station with his head." The news hit me so hard I almost threw up my breakfast. I never thought Eliza would go that far. "Alex, are you there?" the lawyer asked. "Do you still want to pursue charges against Eliza?" I snapped out of my shock. "Let it go." I hung up, suddenly uninterested in work. I walked over to the office window, staring blankly at the sky. My thoughts were interrupted when my boss rushed in, grinning. "What's got you so distracted? There's a party planned for you tonight. Don't leave us hanging." I turned back with a smile, too. "Boss, you've been amazing. I owe you a few drinks for your support." "Alex, stop buttering me up. Let's get going."